the college football playoff recap. So,
Every game I
we
got
all
right.
seen the inevitable that we all knew probably was going to happen, right? Um, I put on my bracket. I was hoping and wishing for, Oklahoma to win, but here we are. Here's the
I
updated
knew.
bracket. We got
Look,
Oregon beating JMU like we said was going to happen. We got Tulane falling to Ole Miss like we saw happen. No one, I don't think a lot of people saw Miami beating A&M.
I did. I said
That
it.
was
I
that
said it
was
twice last week. I said it twice that Miami's
I
defense
was wrong
is
on that one,
disgusting.
but
I was
I
wrong
went
on
over
that
it with
one.
David. David and I went over it, and Miami's defense. I even said it. Their D line is NFL ready, and they proved it against Texas A&M. And I don't think they're going to do it against Ohio State, but it's still. I did get the. I got both. I got every game right.
And
Alabama
then
on
we
the day.
got OU falling to Alabama. Well, I
So that
picked
coming.
OU to win because because I didn't want to put the A to move forward. So,
It's
um,
inevitable, bro.
before we get too far into this, can I just say that we should do away with having at one group of 5 team if they're good enough, fine, whatever. But why do we have 2 group of 5 teams in
No,
here?
take them all away.
Like
Take them all away.
at this point,
Because
you have to
Because
be
the
able to
ACC
prove that you can
Yeah,
hang
because
with the big
Miami
boys.
decides not to play for the ACC championship.
I mean, I
They're not
get,
good
I
enough.
get it. Okay, like having one in there and giving them a shot is a good thing. But this year, it was pretty clear to me that neither of these teams were good enough to be here. If they're good enough, fine. Like Cincinnati in 2021, even though they got crushed, they had an undefeated record. I was fine with them being there for that reason. But both of these teams, especially Tulane, lost to Ole Miss by 35 points earlier in the year. Why would we expect anything different here? I just don't get it. Like
That Tulane game was
It doesn't
more
help that
impressive was way better than it was when I think the second half came.
it doesn't
First
help
half was
that
pretty good.
John Summerall already had a foot out the door in this game, despite the fact that Florida and Tulane both agreed to let him coach this team and let him
Literally.
ride the rest of the way out, regardless of what happened. And I don't think he was trying to lose, obviously, but he obviously wasn't distraught about losing and getting torched by Ole Miss. But I mean, the question you have to ask yourself, though, Chris, is do you genuinely think that Virginia or Duke would have fared any better than Tulane or
I'm not
JMU?
saying that they should have been in. Like I'm not trying to be an SEC
So
homer
then-
here, but I think Vanderbilt would have put up
BYU
a
and
better
Notre
fight
Dame.
than
I agree
either.
on Notre Dame. I agree on Notre Dame 100%.
I think Notre Dame and Vanderbilt should have been here. Like,
BYU got
Texas would have put up a
smoked in the
good fight, but
Big
they
I mean,
didn't.
BYU even is a better argument. I feel like going back, like Tulane stood no chance in that game,
But,
and neither did James Madison.
you
Like
know,
the second,
I said
the second I
BYU
saw
over
Tulane get
JMU.
crushed, I knew exactly what was going to happen in that other game.
At the end of the day, it's the same hypothetical matchups that everyone falls on, saying that this team would have won or this team would have played better, but you didn't play good enough when it mattered. So you
That's what I
don't deserve to be there. The group of 5s played good enough when it mattered, and the ruling allows for a group of 5 teams to get into the college football playoff. If you are BYU, you should have played better when it mattered. You should have kept it closer with Texas Tech. You shouldn't have lost a game early in the season. If you're Notre Dame, join a dang conference and maybe we'll consider it, because now,
Yep.
yes, you schedule a tough schedule. Good for you. Let's give you your applause. Let's give you your flowers. You can have a cookie if you want, but join a conference. Then
Notre
you'll
Dame
we'll
would be in
consider
the
you
ACC.
for the
I
playoff.
don't
championship.
disagree with
Join the
you on
ACC.
this, but at
Join
the
the Big Ten.
Notre Dame would be in the ACC.
Sam, I
would
don't
be in-
disagree with you on this, but I think that in the future we can do away with having 2 group of 5 teams there. If you want to have one as the inclusion, I don't know.
The only
man. It's
reason
like,
a group of
we've
5
had
teams are
4 of
there
them
are
now,
because
3
the
of them, and every
ACC
single time they've been in,
decides
it's not been
not to-
close. Like it just gives the higher ranked team like Ole Miss or Oregon in this spot an easy win. Like I don't know.
I agree with Sam. Maybe you should win during season. Maybe Miami should be playing for ACC championship instead of sitting at home watching Duke. That's the problem.
But Miami made it in though. That's the thing.
They made
Which
it
they shouldn't
in,
have.
but that
They
means
shouldn't
2
have.
group of 5 teams are in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you
I
would
play
play
good
for the
when it
ACC
matters.
championship and stop playing with your food all year. We wouldn't have this.
That's
Go
what
to
I was
the-
trying to say.
Go to the MLB playoffs. Go to the MLB playoffs. I
You
bet
wouldn't
you the
have this
Mets
problem.
would have played better against the Dodgers in the wild card round. I bet they would have. I bet they would have played better against the Dodgers than the Reds did. but they didn't win when it mattered. Cincinnati won when it mattered. So they got into the playoffs. They got into the extra. They got a chunk of the apple, as what Mark Antanasio said. They got a bite out of the apple this year. And, yeah, they got torched. But the same principle applies here. Play better when it matters. Play better when you need to play better. Win when you need to win so you can get postseason football. And if you get invited to a bowl game, you want to play postseason football so bad, play your bowl game. It's that simple. That's what they're there for. They're exhibitions. It's extra money for the university. It's extra money that now pays the players. Play in the bowl game if you want to play in the postseason.
Now that I agree with, because I think Notre Dame is being incredibly childish with how they're acting over this whole thing. Like,
they're being childish.
Sitting out as a protest is just ridiculous, man.
I don't think bowl games are going to be a thing like in the near future anyway.
Their pitching was nasty, Jordan. Their pitching was gross. If they would have gotten hot at the right time, their pitching was gross. I also said that the Reds would have had a chance back in like late August when they were still 8 games out of the playoff picture, so I should probably get some.
If they pitched Andrew Abbott in game 2, I think they give themselves a better chance than whatever the heck they decided to do.
I forgot who they pitched game 2.
Back on this bracket though, I mean JMU and Tulane, I don't think I've said this when we were arguing about if Alabama should deserve to be in. I don't think JMU and Tulane deserve to be in, but obviously they won their conference. Okay, that was my whole point. You went, like you guys have been saying, win when it matters, which they did. That's why they were in. But the fact that these teams just aren't even good enough to compete with these teams, JMU actually played pretty well against Oregon. I think.
They actually put up a lot of points.
They put up 30, impressive. which is pretty crazy. Okay, but which kind of worries me for Oregon next week.
Because Texas Tech might just maul them.
I think to a certain extent, though, they took their foot off the gas and kind of played in second gear.
But
JMU was putting.
Because we've seen that Oregon defense.
Yeah, JMU was putting up. They were holding Oregon to less yards in the first half.
I will say they did much better than Tulane did.
JMU played great, but I just don't think that. I mean, maybe you can make the argument that they deserve to be in it because they played so well, but I just don't think they didn't put up a good fight the entire game.
I'll tell you straight up right now, if they can retain a bunch of that roster and try and keep them from the transfer portal, they got Billy Napier coming in. They're going to be right back here again next year, and they're probably going to be even better. They're probably going to be what Boise State was last season, a team that's actually a very good college. Like they would compete in a group of 4 or a Power 4 schedule, like Boise State would have. Right. So I think Boise State, they played Penn State so tough in that first round matchup, right? Or second round. They were all the way in the quarterfinals. They played them so tough in that one. I think JMU is going to be in roughly that same boat next year. They have a lot going right for them going forward.
My question is are we doing is this actually an auto conference? Like if you win your conference, is this an unwritten rule? Because obviously Duke won their conference and they didn't get in. But
they have 5 losses.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, is this actually a thing where, we kind of have an unwritten rule where, in other sports, in basketball, obviously, if Holy Cross wins their conference, I wholeheartedly believe Iowa could beat them if they don't make the tournament. But, is this actually a thing, or is this just because we feel like we need to include group of 5 teams?
No, this is actually, I think it's a thing because the ACC.
You guys actually believe that they're top 12 in the country because – in Division III, for example, I wouldn't say all top 40 teams make it into the NCAA tournament, but I mean, I just want to know where we're at with that. Is that what we're basing this on? Because if that's the rule, that's fine, and I'm okay with it. But I just don't know. Are we just including these teams because they won their conference, or because we actually believe they're in the top 12?
Because they won their conference.
They won their conference,
but they won their conference, and because they also Tulane and JMU have better resumes than Duke, who won the ACC conference. That's the problem.
Yep.
And the bigger problem too is that
what I'm learning is the ACC is a
Duke there.
joke. The ACC is just a joke. That's what I'm learning.
It wasn't very good this year. That's why.
It wasn't good.
It hasn't been good.
Miami is there, and they won a game.
That's what I'm saying. Miami shouldn't have been there, but they won. So
Miami won a game that was the dude wipes poop bowl, dude. That game was horrible. It was terrible on all fronts. No,
it was a defensive game.
That game was
great.
Terrible. That game had the least amount of yards combined between the two teams in the first half of any postseason college football.
There's a difference between a defensive struggle and a terrible game of football.
I think
that was a terrible game of football. Missed field goals left and right. Neither team could get a drive going. Turnovers everywhere you saw.
Disgusting.
Like Marcel Reed threw 200. One of the best quarterbacks in football this year. Threw 2 interceptions.
I told you this was going to happen.
Kyle Field. And Kyle
the defense
Field,
showed
one of the toughest places to play in college football. And Marcel Reed was terrible.
Mm-hmm. It's not even
against a Miami team that we're all agreeing probably should not have been in the playoff. Or if they were, they should have been lower. They probably should have been the 12. And they lost at home. Kyle Field is impossible to play at as a road team, especially as an out-of-conference road team. And they lost.
I told you guys as soon as they got in, I said I didn't want them in. But if going through this matchup, the way to win this game is if Miami protects the football on offense, which they did for the most part. They just missed a bunch of field goals, like you said. But the defense showed up and they only put up 7 against this Miami defense. Now, Miami, they're going to get bounced probably next round because that offense is like immobile. It doesn't know how to move. But that defense can win them games.
They're beating
that defense can win them games. That's all I'll say. But we knew this was going to happen, dude. I mean, I predicted it. I told you guys that this game was not going to be a high-flying game. It was going to be low because the defenses are great, but Miami's is better. They proved it. So, I mean, I thought it was a great game. I watched it, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So,
my question is, does Alabama stand a chance against Indiana?
No.
Because I mean, I don't think so either.
The
thing is about Oklahoma, their resume was good enough to be in, but I also didn't think they were very good this year.
I wouldn't count Alabama out, but
anything like they
I'm not gonna. I didn't disagree with them getting in, but I didn't think they were overly impressive.
I think it'll be a good game. I think everybody's kind of hating Alabama because it's Alabama, but I think it's going to be a good game. I think Indiana's going to win, but Alabama's still going to be good.
Ty Simpson needs to have a game.
I think it'd be a good game, but I think if Alabama plays anything like they did in the
if they play a game like
they played with fire in that game a little bit too much. Oklahoma,
but Alabama made a comeback. If they play like that again, though, I don't know. That's just not going to work the same way.
You can't get out the gate slow against Kurt Signetti.
Asking that question, Chris, the question that you opened up with 3 years ago probably would have put you in an institution, right? That's how amazing. Like Indiana football has really turned a corner since hiring Kurt Signetti. As for who we got winning, I think it's going to be Ohio State because I think Indiana gets upset by Texas Tech in the semifinals. Oregon's got holes. Dante Moore played a phenomenal game against JMU, and JMU's got a solid defense, but Oregon also got bailed out by a bunch of chunk plays in that game. There are a lot of chunk plays that were getting them downfield quick. JMU was keeping things close in the trenches. So that, like, obviously Oregon didn't have that great of a day running outside of DR Hill Jr., who, like I said, chunk plays, bailed him out, including a 56-yarder, right? So if you take away that 56-yarder, he's 5 for 20 on the day. I think Texas Tech beats Oregon, and I think Texas Tech probably beats Indiana in the semifinals, though Kurt Signetti, that dude is probably the most determined mind in college football right now. But I think it's going to be Tech versus Ole Miss. Call me crazy.
But
Ole Miss is really rallying around Pete Golding. Ever since Lane Kiffin left, Pete Golding,
I want to see them
defensive mind in football.
I got Georgia winning it all.
Opponent first,
Georgia versus
I believe in them.
I got
Georgia versus Indy for the championship game for me.
Yeah, I got Georgia over Tech.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're all basically agreeing that the winner is going to come from one of Tech, Indiana, Ole Miss, or Georgia. I like that too. I think Ohio State definitely has a say in it. Ohio State's they're waxing the floor with Miami this week.
I think Oregon stands a chance though. I
think Ohio State had a far too easy schedule this year, just with how the Big Ten played out. They didn't really play anyone, and even when they beat Texas, I didn't think they looked impressive in that game. They didn't look overly impressive against Michigan either.
I also think Julian Sayin was a PR Heisman candidate. I don't think he really deserved to be in the top 4 in Heisman voting, let alone even in the top 10.
I liked him a lot.
I mean, when you throw to Carnell King or Jeremiah Smith every game, it makes things way easier.
I thought the linebacker from Texas Tech should have been a finalist.
Agreed.
But he was good though.
But yeah, Julian Sayin, I think he's too inexperienced. I don't think he had a good enough season, and I don't think he's going to be able to win when it matters most. I think he'll win this week for sure, just because Ohio State in general is such a talented team. But I don't think Ohio State gets past the semifinals this year. They don't have a guy like Will Howard that can be the leader of that group.
How about
Or
that
Jack
name?
Sawyer.
How about that name, Julian Sand? That's a name. That's a pretty good name.
It's a fire name. It's gonna be a fire NFL name.
For sure.
I don't think so. CFL. UFL.
Okay, come on.